In this video, we're going to be covering a program called Jitsi'n. Now, on the computer, which is a Windows computer, laptop or desktop, or a Apple computer, there is no application that you have to install. It runs in a browser, which is the Chrome browser, Firefox, or Opera. We rather avoid using things like Edge and Explorer because they don't have the technology built into them. But the browser of choice would be Google Chrome. So I'm going to demonstrate that in Google Chrome. You don't have to download anything. All you need to do is put the address into the bar on top here, and you click one button and you up into the meeting already. So let's, for example, say this is the meeting address. This is how it's broken up. It's got this section here, which you're going to put in the address line, the URL on top, which says meet.jit.si, meet Jitsi'n. And the program or the open source platform is called Jitsi'n. Okay, but this is how you type in the address. Then you have a forward slash and the name of the room that you're creating. So when you conference, you create a room and everyone gets invited into that room. So this would be the typical link that would be sent to run a meeting. Now, I'm not going to be using name of room as the name of the room. I'm going to be using an example, a real world example, where we can use a term called Nellie James Wedding Chat 007. Now, there's an interesting thing when you use a combination of 4 words. The percentage of chance that another person or even another computer can guess those 4 words in that sequence is literally 1 to 100 million. But if they do guess it, chances are impossible almost that they'll be able to guess it and be on the same Jitsi'n platform as you. So if you choose a 4-word number, 4-word room, you pretty much will be moving into a very secure environment for yourself. But this is how it's made up. So the first part is to take you to the Jitsi'n environment, and the next one is to create a room. So by using this link, you are going into the room in one click. I'm going to show you another way where you go to the meet.jit.si site and you go and type in manually the name of the room that you choose. Okay, but in this case, we're going to copy this and we go to the browser. And this is all you have to do. You get the link, you paste it into the browser, or you might find that it's in an email that's been sent to you. When you click on that email, it will automatically on the computer open up in Chrome browser and go right into the meeting. So I'm going to press enter now, and that's all you have to do. So just get the link, you click enter, put it in the browser, and there we are in the meeting. How simple is that? And that is exceptionally powerful. What is intelligent about the software platform, you see I've put in Nellie James Wedding Chat. It detects that those are literally independent English words. And because I've type them all together, which I have to when I put the room name together, it automatically breaks it up just as a descriptor. Yeah, the room is still called that without spaces, but it uses artificial intelligence to make the name of the room look more pleasant when you bring it in. Okay, so I'm going to, for this while, just switch off the camera and I'm going to switch off the mic. I'm going to now go out of this and I'm going to use the same name. I'm going to just copy this so that I copy it into memory. I'm going to use the same name, but now I'm going to go just to this section, to the Jitsi'n platform, to the website, and I'm going to go type in that name on its own. Okay, so let me show you that. So if somebody now is familiar with using it, they'll say, okay, I'll meet you, and they'll just give you the name of the room. And it might be a more simple name though, but in this case, I'm copying it so that I don't need to remember the sequence. If I press enter, just with meet.jit.si, it brings me to this page. And this is the page where I can, if you look here, it says start a new meeting. It automatically will generate 4 random words for you. So you can use these 4 random words and create a meeting. If I click go now, it will keep those 4 words as my meeting room name. Then I can share it with people to join me. But in this case, remember, we have one that I've copied. It's in memory, so I'm going to go Control and V. And there you see it's pasted that name. Now, I am here in meet.jitsi'n. I could attend that meeting with the same by doing / and putting that name in, but I'm showing you the second way of getting into it. Once you're familiar with the platform, it's as simple as just knowing what the room name is, and you can come here and type it in. So when I click here, you'll see this name will be translated on top here, and it will take me into that exact same room. So I click go, and there you can see it's put it there, populated it there for me, and I'm in that exact same room. Okay, so let's go into the features that we have with this platform. The first thing that is important is for you to go to this top area. You see there, it says Rory Townsend. That's my name is there because I've put it in, but usually you'll have a situation like this that it will just show up as me. Now the reason why it shows up as me, because there is absolutely no registration taking place. So nobody takes your name, nobody takes your number, nobody takes your cell phone, nobody takes your email address, nothing. It's your privacy when you create these meetings. But for other users that are coming into the meeting to know who it is, it's wise to go there and just click once on there, and you can enter your name. Let me just call it Rory and press enter. And then everybody who comes into this meeting will know that it's me, it represents me. Okay, so that would be usually the first thing to do. The second thing to do, or I would consider it probably the first thing, is to mute your mic and your video when you get into a meeting, and then go put your name up there. Because if you leave these things on, it can become distracting when there are many people online. Okay, so if you're not seeing anything, that everything's disappeared, if you just hover over the screen, these bottom dialog boxes will pop up. So the first one here is to share your screen. Now I've got in the background here, I've got PowerPoint presentation, so I've minimized it. So I'm going to show you how you'd be able to share your screen. Now you can share a YouTube video screen, you can share anything you want to. So if we go here to share your screen, if you're going to share anything on your entire screen, it gives you the option to share audio also. So if you're going to share something like another video, you must just make sure that you click share audio so the audience can listen to it. But if I go here, I can click on that particular item. Because I've selected on here, if I didn't select on any of these items, the share button would be grayed out. So I'm going to select there and share with the people. Now when I do a share, I will only see this application working. So I will go to the application and work in it. Everyone else will be seeing it on their screens. So let me click share. This is the view that the people are seeing. I can click stop sharing here. This one is if you are many people in a group and you want to raise your hand to highlight something, you can click that. You can see it puts the hand up so that the person who's moderating the meeting can see that you want to talk. When you're done, you can click that. It will remove the hand. This is for chatting. So if you click this, you can send a message to everybody, or you could click on a person's, if there were people in the meeting. Let me just close this. If there are people in the meeting, I'm going to there'll be little blocks. If you click on the little three dots on their name, you can send a private message to those individuals. So that is those three icons. Here is your mute and unmute. So good principle is when you're in meetings, especially on the desktop, this feature works well on desktops and laptops. If you're in a meeting or on all platforms, you always stay muted unless you're talking. On the desktop and the laptop, if you want to talk and unmute yourself temporarily, you press the space bar and it will unmute, and you hold the space bar down while it talks. When you finish talking, you can let go of the space bar and it automatically mutes you. So that's a great feature that you have there. This little arrow here will just indicate which other audio devices you have, and maybe you want to allocate it to a different audio device. This is microphones that you might have. This one is the same. It will indicate which videos you have accessible. So I've got 2 video and I can select between the 2 which I want to have used. Okay, so and this is to mute the camera so that you shut the camera off. And often if you're on a conference call where other people are talking, you don't have to have your video streaming. It uses unnecessary data from your side, so you can just mute it. The middle one is when you're done with the meeting, you can click there. As we move to the right hand side, these 4 blocks here are to toggle what we call a tile view. Now this might look quite simple as we're working here, but as soon as you have 20, 30 people coming online, you have a whole lot of blocks around. And the first thing that you notice is when somebody talks, their picture comes to the fore. So it will be full screen, whoever's talking. If another person talks, their face fills the entire screen. So if you want to change that, you can move to this tile view. When that happens, you'll have all the people in little blocks over here. And even if they talk, the little block will highlight as they're talking. It will have a blue line around it, but it will stay in a tiled format like this. So you won't have one image shifting onto the entire big screen. That is my preferred way of working with it. Then the next one is, if you click on the eye, if you are in the meeting and you want to share this link with somebody that's still got to get to the meeting and don't have a link, you can just take the link here and copy it and share it with him. Can you see that name still is there? Nelly James Wedding Chat 007. Below that, that's a dial-in number. Now currently with this open source version, they give us about 8 or 10 numbers which are local to specific countries. Like this is America. Currently in South Africa, and I'm not sure in any of the other African countries, there aren't any local numbers that are available there. If your team primarily has to call in using landlines or their normal cell phones, there's other options that can be used. One that's totally free also to use with all the features, calling in from landlines and all that. And there are other paid for versions that we could also recommend. If you want to check any of the extra numbers, I'll show you which ones are available. So I'll click this here. You will see it's the US, UK. You can see here there's numbers here. One of these days we'll have a South African number, or somewhere in Africa some numbers in your country. But for this version of Jitsi, these are the only numbers. The next one over here is add a password. But once you get into the meeting, if you're 10 people in the meeting, once you're in, you can lock the meeting by just going and saying add a password. And if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, I press enter, there the password is locked in there. Anybody that's trying to get into this meeting now will have to give a password. So I'm going to copy this and just show it to you. If I go into another tab and I try to enter this meeting again, so you're going to see there I'm getting in from another tab, and there it's going to say password required. Okay, so if somebody else tries to get into that meeting now, it's going to need that password that we've just set. So let me close that tab off. While I'm showing you that, I'm going to just remove the password. I think it's very interesting to note, because of the simplicity of this program, if you decide that you want to, say you're talking, there's 10 people in this meeting, Nelly James Wedding Chat meeting, and 2 of you want to just go have a very private chat, all you can do is just tell each other, okay, let's just open another browser and let's go to, let's choose the same thing, but I want to put in, let me paste that there, but let's call it 78. So we're changing a different one. You press enter. What we've just created now is a separate room where 2 of us can go across, or 3 of us can have a private chat here. And once we're done chatting here, we can leave this room and decide we just go back again to the original room. So in some of the paid for softwares, they create what we call breakout rooms, where you click a button and then you move out to a breakout room. Because this is totally web-based, it just makes simple sense just to open a new tab and drop in the new name, and whoever wants to go to that breakout room, they just go click the same user link and they all go into that room. So you can go have a breakout room, come back in again. So that's how breakout rooms are created. It's literally done on the fly. Let's go to the third part here, this third icon here. This is where, remember when I spoke to you about the putting in your name, you could also come here. Usually this would reflect as just saying ME for me, but if you click on that, it gives you the opportunity to come in and put in some of your detail also. You can also set your devices, which video camera, which audio devices, set up a calendar and more. But we're not going to go into that at this point in time. This is sufficient for you to know. So that will be where you go set your name. Manage the video quality now. Jitsi has an algorithm. It's a program that manages if your internet slows down, it will drop the quality of certain aspects of the communication and try and keep your audio going as strong as possible, because that's the last part that needs to be destroyed in when you have 0 to no internet connection. So your audio will always be the priority, and then beyond the audio, then your video will come up. So if you're streaming video and your internet connection gets very slow, the program itself will shut down your video and keep your audio going. When the internet gets better, your video will come back up again. Okay, so that's how Jitsi is designed to manage it. But you, from the get-go, if you know you've got a poor connection, can come to manage video quality, and you can decide to drop your video down to a lower level. If you, for example, choose it as low definition or low bandwidth, in most cases your video wouldn't show through here. It would just show an icon here, because you are telling the program that you want to conserve the amount of video that you're sending through. The best option, in my opinion, is you either control switching it, muting it, or unmuting it, depending. Here, if you hover over in the corner, you can see here, and this will be shown on everybody's connection. You'd be able to see this little circle. When it turns green, it's perfectly running well. When it goes like a yellowish color, it's struggling with bandwidth because there's not sufficient internet speed on that person's connection. So this is giving you an indication of how each person's connection is running. And then when it goes red, it's showing you that the connection is actually quite bad. So you know if somebody's having difficulty, it's because of their connection into the meeting itself. So there's not one person's connection goes down and the rest of the connections all suffer. It doesn't work that way. It's dependent on each person that connects in, how good their connection is for them to enjoy the meeting seamlessly. Full screen, that does what it says. The next thing is, this is a bit slightly more advanced, is live streaming. With Jitsi, you can live stream to YouTube. So you have to have a YouTube account where you can stream through, and then YouTube gives you a code. If you click on here, YouTube will give you a code that you put in here, and then you can stream live from here. What I suggest most of the time is, if you're doing a conference call of say 15 or 20 people, you can get them onto Jitsi, up to 50 or so people. But you never have a usual meeting where you have more than 20 or 30 people in a meeting room talking. So often it will be a selective group of people talking. If you're having a publication that's going to be going out to 1,000 people, my opinion is, don't get them all onto the conferencing platform. Get the ones that are contributing, and then create a stream either to YouTube. Now, Jitsi only has a stream to YouTube. There's a technical way using another open source software called OBS to be able to stream to other platforms. And I would suggest looking at streaming to Facebook Live. That's quite a nice stable platform also. So you can stream live. You can record. What it does is, if you start recording, it will show you that it uploads it to Dropbox. So you've got to sign into a Dropbox account. I've created one here, and Dropbox gives you 2 gigabytes of free space. The only limit is the size of your Dropbox. And usual meetings don't get close to 2 gigs of space in a meeting. Then this is the other powerful feature that I think most other programs don't have, which is sharing a YouTube video. Now, I would suggest, remember I spoke about sharing your screen and sharing video. If you want to share a YouTube video link, then use this feature. If you click here, this is where you put a YouTube video link in. The power of this connection is that it will load it onto your screen, and you sharing the video will be playing it. So you press the play and the pause button. But everybody who's on the conference call will see the video streaming from YouTube themselves. So you're not streaming the video to everybody. They are watching it straight off YouTube. What you are connecting to them with is the control of showing the video, stopping the video, and shutting it down. So all of their computers will just be streaming it straight from YouTube, and that makes a YouTube link share very seamlessly over the conference. So that is an excellent tool that is, I think, quite unique to the Jitsi Meet platform. Then there's a feature here, blur my background, that's still in development. Other platforms give you the option to put in pictures in the background. Does help when you're having a meeting and you want to cut off the background area, but this is still in development stage, so I wouldn't recommend using it. It takes a lot of your computer power to use that. Then under settings, if we click there, The same thing happens here. We have the ability to see what we had when I clicked on that top, when I had my name there. It's pretty much the same settings, just with different dialogues. So it's got the audio output, microphone, and the cameras that have been used. Okay, and then we get close to the end. If you are busy talking and you want to mute everybody, you can come in here, click mute everybody. Say there's 30 people on the call and 5 of their mics are on. You can see whose mics are on, but if you don't want to go individually and mute them, you just come here and click mute everybody, and it will mute them, and then you can speak. Here's the speaker stats, a very interesting statistic. If you click on it, you'll see everybody that's in this meeting and how many minutes they are talking or seconds they are talking. So you can see who's been participating and who's not been participating. Also, when the meeting has quite a few people in, you'll have a little icon on top here that will say 10 or 15 or 20 people in the meeting. And if you click on that, you'll see the same dialog box pop up. And then the final thing here is view shortcuts. Now, these shortcuts here are to help you do things quickly. The one that I have covered that I still recommend is an awesome feature is the push to talk, which is the space bar, which means that when you have your things muted to talk, you just press space bar. And when you're talking, you can see these lines here. These lines will show that you're talking. When I let go of the space bar, you will see it will cut out there. Now, if somebody's talking and you got them up in the tile view or any other view, you'll also see those blue lines moving to show who is talking. And then bottom left corner here, you'll see people, that mic is muted, and there the video has stopped. The video is also muted, to see that in that area. Okay, and that pretty much covers these menu areas. And that is as concise a tutorial I can give you about the desktop version. Okay, so let's get into the mobile device. So I'm on an Android device here. It should work the same for you to download the application. As mentioned before, you have to download the application onto a mobile device. And some people might confuse the fact that a tablet is not a mobile device. It's almost like a real computer. But as far as Jitsi goes, a tablet, an iPad, a cell phone, all of those are considered mobile devices, and you need to download the app. So I'll show it to you on the Android app, going to the Play Store. Then what we do is we search for Jitsi. The Jitsi Meet. Okay, and that is the application. We find Jitsi Meet, and it's underwritten by a company, 8x8 Incorporation. They're the people that fund the open source community to start developing and keep developing and be at the cutting edge for this particular platform. So interesting, the guy that you're seeing there in the first image, that is the guy who developed Jitsi about 12 years ago. He's the one that started off as a project, as a student, doing his PhD. And he is still with the company today and the pioneer leading in this specific field. So it's very exciting to have the guys who developed it right at the start still integrally involved with the platform. It's come of age and become one of the leading conferencing call platforms globally. Free and open source. So this mobile app, you do the install. It will run and do an installation for you. And this is as simple as it gets. When you open it up, it's going to ask you for a room name. You type in the room name and you into the meeting, just like I demonstrated in the other situation with the desktop. So I'll open up the desktop in the background. So let me see where we are. Let me open this in front. I wonder if I could keep this in front. Yeah, I'll just keep this in front. Okay, so let me go and open this meeting. I'm going to use a meeting address called Nelly. Okay, so we'll just pull that across there. Okay, and then I'll mute those two. So we're in a meeting called Melly. Let me just show you the thing here. Let's open it up. And look what happens. It comes basically like you've seen on the desktop. It comes up and this is all it shows you. Isn't this quite incredible? It's just saying enter the room name. There's no registration, nothing that you need to do. So what I'm going to do just is on the top corner, I'm going to slide that over to voice. So at this stage here, it's saying when I enter the meeting, it's going to show my video. Okay, and I'm saying I don't want to show my video. I click on there. I just want to use my voice. So before I even enter the room, and I know in this example, our room is going to be called Nelly. Now, because I'm in the app, I don't have to type meet.jit.sa. I can just type Nelly. Okay, we've chosen a very simple name because it makes it easy to type in. Before we get going, top left corner, there is a burger menu, those 3 lines. If you tap onto that, it's going to show you that by default, you don't register, so it doesn't know who you are. By default, it's going to say me. If you click on settings, the first thing that it asks you is your display name. Now, I'm going to put in there Randy. Okay, so we've got Randy in there, and then use the arrow back. And there now it will remember us as Randy. So yeah, I'm going to click in and I'm going to put in, what was the name? Nelly. Nelly. And let's click on create join. And that's it. You'll see. There we are. Can you see? We are in the meeting at the back. So all I did was I opened the app and I put the name of the room in. So here we have similar features. So I'm going to, if you want to see the menu items, you tap on the screen. The left-hand side, that is for messaging. And we've gone through the explanation of the audio muting, the putting down of a call, and the video muting over there. Okay, then the 3 dots, if you tap onto that, these are your options. You can select a sound source if you are going to use your, let me tap that and show you. You can use your phone, so if you're keeping it near your ear, or your speakerphone. Just to note that if you are on a call and you find that somebody calls through to you, so somebody phones on your normal cell phone and it cuts off, because when somebody calls on a cell phone, it will cut off your data. That's just how cell phones work. If you get back onto the call, you might not be able to hear yourself. You have to come to this section and just flip back onto speakerphone, because it by default will shift out of this area. In the worst case scenario, if you can't hear yourself, you just disconnect and reconnect to the area. But it usually comes back immediately if you get disrupted while you're busy working. So we're going to go the 3 dots again. Invite somebody. I suggest you rather do your inviting outside this environment. Disable low bandwidth. Raise your hand is, as we said, like if I put my hand up here now, can you see here in this, on this section, you can see the hand being put up there. If I put it down here, let's go and lower hand. There you can see it disappears. If we go again through to the 3 buttons there, there are more options. If you click here, you can see there's a few more options. This is that tile view, so you could click here, and on your screen also you can bring it up in tile view. So if there's many of them, they will formulate here but scroll off the screen usually because it's a mobile device. Let's click more options again. Start recording. This is if you also want to record to the cloud. It's going to ask you to upload it to Dropbox. Okay, I explained that as same as on the desktop. And let's see here, when we come to live streaming, you can also live stream from your mobile device. Okay, but you'll have to fill in, if you click on that, it's going to ask you for your YouTube streaming code, and that takes a little bit of setup. And then finally, you have add a meeting password. So even on the mobile, if you click add a meeting password, you can put a password, and anybody who tries to come into that meeting after the password's been initiated must put that password in. So that's on the mobile device, and that's pretty much it. There's not much more to be said about it. It's as simple as that. I'm going to just click off the tile view again. So when we want to disconnect here, we just press this button. So I'm going to disconnect. Okay, on the mobile, and over here I'm going to disconnect also. So now I've disconnected from both of these devices. I'm going to maybe just pull this to the side so we can see both at the same time. Okay. So I just want to speak about the mobile device. What is quite nice here is that you You have, if you've been in, it remembers the recent meetings. So if you want to delete this and you don't want to keep it, you can keep mouse down and drag it to the side. At this point, you can click on info. It will give you more info about that call, or delete and it will remove it, or you can just drag it back. Now, the power of having this as a recent is if you want to go back into a previous meeting, you just click onto this. So look what it'll happen here. I come back to the app, I'll click on there, and there I'm in the meeting. Quickly. It is as fast as that. So here in this place here, I'm going to go back here and it will remember what meeting I was in, and you'll see I'll join the meeting there also. So I click back, there I'm in the meeting, there it starts up there, both of us are in the meeting. Okay, I'll have to mute that. But there we're both in the meeting, and that's how quick it is. So hopefully this helps you. If you have any other questions, just pop them through and we can see how we'll be able to help.